And what is up, everybody? Good afternoon, or if you're watching on the East Coast, good evening, obviously, because it's after 6 o'clock. Welcome to a very, very special presentation here on Talk Wrestling, here on the Jeff Meacham Network. Let me go ahead and throw the branding up there because I don't have the logo set for today because, well, I'm wearing the network hat, so I didn't feel like putting the logo up. However, I did want to really get into today's topic because it's a very important day, and you guys all know that. And I talked about all week last week, but it is official, so we'll get there momentarily. First of all, let me say hello to everybody in the chat room. Hello, Renegade. I know you're on your lunch, so appreciate you coming in while you can. Cleaver, what is up, sir? Josh says, can't stay long, just wanted to say hey and congrats RVD. Absolutely, we appreciate that. Josh, thank you. CJ says hello. And Cleaver says I'm celebrating. We'll see. The thing is, they announced it early, like this morning, apparently right before I got up, because I had a text in my inbox from Aaron, and then I went on social media and bam, it hit me like a freaking freight train. Hurt me like a hurricane, if you will. Not Hurricane Helms, obviously, but yeah, it is official. Rob Van Dam is now officially going to be a Hall of Fame inductee. That'll be next Tuesday night live on Peacock and the WWE Network elsewhere outside the United States. So happy for Rob. Can't even remotely say how happy I am for Rob and for everybody that has known him and worked with him and as a friend of his, and just elated that he's officially now going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Again, I said it when I first heard the rumor and innuendo, if you will, but it sucks. I can't be there, obviously. That's a bitch. I'm not going to lie. But at least we get to know that he's in, and he so deserves it. No question about it. For what it's worth, I did ask him last week, just because, actually, I wasn't even really thinking about the Hall of Fame when I asked him if he wanted to make an appearance on one of our shows. And he says, I have more requests than I have time. So I mean, it's pretty much a given that he knew. And like I said, I'm happy for him. When he gets an opportunity, when he has the time, and when we have the time, we will definitely get him back on the show for sure. And we'll get him to talk all about his career and whatnot. JJ says the only thing that would have been better is if WrestleMania had been the end of April and the announcement could have come and announcement already in the Hall of Fame could have been on 420. So, yeah, that's pretty much. And then Cleaver says, I want to see your reaction video of his induction. If you're planning, I'm not planning to watch along Tuesday, or Monday or Friday. We'll be watching along with Takeover next week, but not with Raw and Raw Hall of Fame awards. I may do Hall of Fame just because Rob's in. We'll see. CJ asked the Cleaver. Okay, well, I think you meant to ask me because it's about the Kings, so I'm assuming you meant me, CJ. If I could be the main boss of either the Kings or the WWE, which would I pick? You know, I would honestly pick the WWE. Now, it's going to sound strange to people, but I am not too knowledgeable on the inner workings of the hockey business. So I'll get to the super chat just a minute. That's tremendous. Thank you, G. I know how a hockey game works. I know the rules. I know, the basic structure, but I don't know the inner workings of the business enough to really what do you call it? Run the Kings, and they're in good hands. They've got the Robitaille running their business side. They've got a great general manager in Rob Blake. They've got a great coach right now in Tom McClellan. And yeah, they're struggling. The Kings are struggling. I'm not even going to deny that, but they are rebuilding. And we've heard the phrase how many times now, JJ? Hashtag trust the process. And I do trust the process. WWE, I would love to run WWE. I would love to, if not flat out run it, at least be the number two man, the main strategic advisor to Vince McMahon, because man, I have so many ideas that I keep a lid on or my beak button because I don't want to get in trouble. I love to do that. That'd be great. $42.20 super chat from Big G, Big Baller G. Congrats to RVD. G, thank you so much. I'll definitely put that $42 to good use. Maybe I'll get myself something. Maybe I'll get myself some CBD for my back and my shoulder. First first of all, before I get really, really deep into this whole story time here over the course of the next hour, let me first apologize to everybody that follows me on here, on Twitter, on Facebook, my personal Facebook, everywhere. I did not do a damn thing this weekend, and it wasn't from lack of wanting. Let me be clear on that. I evidently went to bed Friday and got up in the dead of the night Saturday and was having a horrible reaction, side effect, we're going to call it, to my Moderna shot, the COVID shot part 1. And I ended up spending the better part of the weekend in bed with what felt like, and still does somewhat feel like, the flu. I don't have the flu. I just have a reaction. So I was down for the count. That's why there was no Big Gold this weekend. That's why there was no Disney stream this weekend. You guys that follow me on personal Facebook, you saw the Disney stream letter. I didn't mention Big Gold. I totally forgot about Big Gold, and that's my bad. And I'm sorry. But I will work on getting it up, taken care of, I should say, this coming weekend on April 3rd. All right. So back to the chat room. Gridiron Grapple, Big G says will be at Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern due to work schedule. All right. So no Gridiron Grapple tomorrow. That'll be coming up Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern for those of you that are fans of Gridiron Grapple. And if you're not a fan of the Gridiron Grapple, you really should be. It's a hell of a show. I absolutely love it. So check that out. CJ says, if you became the boss of WWE, would you fire Vince or let him stay on some other role? If I was given outright control of the WWE brand, name, product, whatever you want to call it, I would definitely keep the McMahon family on in some sort of advisory capacity. And unlike WCW, I would actually utilize the McMahon's expertise, unlike the WCW guys not using the Crockett's. So I definitely keep them on for sure. All right. Enough of the Ask Me anything. That's not what this is for today. I want to talk about Rob, and I want to talk about everything that we've had with him over the years. There's been so many just different interactions with him over the better part of 16 years. It'll be actually 16 years this week, because it was WrestleMania week 2005, which was the beginning of April. Matter of fact, this weekend's pretty close to the date as far as the actual date. We had been going, the show Extreme Mayhem had been going we went for 2 years, and then we took our little break in the early part of 04, and then we came back as a video presentation in the fall of 04, and we were trudging right along. We were doing great. We were having a good time, and had a lot of great guests, did a lot of things over at PWG as far as interviews and on location shoots, a lot of location shoots. And for those of you that were fans back in the day, I'm going to plug in there for JJ while I can. Oh, by the way, speaking of JJ, let me do this first. Make sure you guys tune in this month's episode of Renegades Recap tomorrow at noon. That's tomorrow at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. We're going to recap JJ's entire month of wrestler-centric movie reviews, and then we'll talk about the future and trilogies in April. Future trilogies. Anyway, this guy here and I, on Dads, Rob makes it 3 for 5, because I did say that Rob deserves it and he wished he'd been in the Hall of Fame, and damn it, here he is. There you go. So good on us. Woo woo. There you go. We did good. We're again, nobody could have predicted the great Khali. You know, we didn't know about the political inner workings, if you will. And Kane was honestly like a shock. Not that he doesn't deserve it, because Glenn certainly deserves it, but we were just not expecting him to be announced. It wasn't even on the radar, for lack of a better term, right? So I say we're doing pretty good. 3 for 3, 3 for 5 is pretty good. Yeah, it's a D, but you know, it's all right. So anyway, we're going to WrestleMania week 2005. And for timestamp purposes, for you all that were fans back in the day, like Greg Cherry and the like, this is just before, just before we did the whole splitting of Extreme Mayhem Video into essentially 2 shows for the better part of the summer. So the week before that, we learned that Spike Dudley was going to be doing a meet and greet at Rob's comic book store, 5 Star Comics, which at the time was located at the Lakewood Center Mall, which ended up being about 5 minutes from where I ended up living for a couple years. JJ's old apartment down in Long Beach, Lakewood area. So the team headed on down to Lakewood, Long Beach, and we prior to actually making the decision to go down there, we weren't going. No offense against Spike, we were going to see Rob. And I can't tell you how I obtained the phone number to this day. I think it was in a massive trade I did with a fan of the show back in the day or something. But Rob's number was on that list, and I texted him. I said, "Hey, would you be interested? I know you're under contract, but I also know you're doing doing your rehab for your knee. Would you be interested in doing a interview?" And he said, "Sure." I said, "Okay, well, where would you like to go?" He says, "Come on down to the store." I said, "He said I'll be there. I'll be there." Wednesday for Spike's interview. Okay, or for Spike's meet and greet. Okay, cool. Went down there, met up with him. I talked to him on the way in. Literally called him on the way in. Hey, where's the best place to park for blah blah. He guided us in, and we sat down. And after, I don't know if it was after or before Spike was done. It may have been during, for all I know. It was 16 years ago, you guys. But ended up talking to him for almost an hour. I think we ended up going that first time. It was crazy. And yes, JJ and the Enterprise were definitely there, ran that line for the meet and greet. So they seemed to be every one. It was really cool to see them when I did see them. Matter of fact, I know for sure when I want to say Trish, yeah, it was Trish's meet and greet at RVD store, but it was over in Lomita. That by that point is when I got my first pose with the rated R spinner that our mutual friend Chris had held at that time. So it was cool to see that. Anyway, so we interviewed Rob, established a great rapport with all of us, and we kept in touch throughout his entire rehab recovery of the knee. I mean, yeah, remember that knee injury he had in January of 2005 was the first real major surgery he had. Yeah, he rolled his ankle back in whatever it was 2000, which cost him the TV title he had a match with Rhino. He didn't lose the title Rhino, but he ended up having to forfeit to the network. If you guys saw that, that was interesting. $4.20 super chat also from Big G. Thank you, Big G. It would also meet RVD in person. It really would. He's great to me in person. He's awesome. I love Rob. Kevin says, who inducts RVD? Heyman, thoughts? It's pretty much a given. Paul all but announced that he's the one that inducted him, and it should be Paul. If it's not me, it should be Paul Heyman. And I jokingly say that, but I had a speech all ready to go. I really did. I was really hoping it would be in LA, and I was hoping it would happen this year because I'm supposed to be in LA this year. But it didn't work out. And to follow up the Big G's comment, would it be even cooler to smoke with him? Yes, exactly. I have not done that. And again, I'm not a smoker. Let me just throw that out there. But my son's mother has smoked out with members of his staff. And I know that if the opportunity had been there for them to be in the room at the same time, she would have smoked with him for sure, because it was it's an honor. It's a real privilege to be able to do that with Rob for sure. All right, so we do the interview. He rehabs the knee. He does one night stand. We actually talked about one night stand, the original concept and everything on his. Sorry for I had to adjust my legs. Killing me here. I'm still a little woozy from all the meds and everything, so I apologize. Anyway, so he did one night stand, and he talks about that on our original interview, that he was looking to where they're looking to do that, and it was his concept, his brainchild, his baby, and it came off of that edge. I thought the first one was really, really well done, and ended up evolving into him returning at the Royal Rumble, which the week before the Rumble, our old buddy the Sandman was down at his second location, which they moved from Lakewood. They moved the comic book store from Lakewood to a city called Lomita, which is way down on way the hell down on Pacific Coast Highway, like way in the hell down there from us, especially me out here in the boonies in Santa Clarita. But we went. The entire team went. That was the entire active XMV team. How about that? It wasn't because Stagger Lee was already had been gone for a little while with his significant other, and I don't know if Aaron's lady was there with us. I know Jay. Hell with it. I know Jay Dylan's mom came with us. I know my two other co-hosts at the time were there. Aaron, of course, they're running camera. Um, so as many of the team as were active came there, and did another hour or so altogether. We presented him with our guest of the year for '05, and we talked and we talked and we talked and we talked, and it was just awesome. And then and you know what, Jay, I will co-sign on that. The second location, the actual location, like the actual setup, wasn't horrible, right? The location, as far as the actual planting on the geography map, was shit. And the logistics for a lineup of meet and greet were god awful. Parking was bullshit because it wasn't even a regular mall, it was a strip mall. It was god friggin' awful. Hated parking there with a passion. So glad I didn't drive. My God. Just the shits. But after the signing was over, and after, God bless Sam, man, he basically what Hack was doing throughout the entire signing was he would have a beer here and a beer here, and he would chug one beer and sign another, and then and then just keep doing that. Like, it was ugly for a while. But we ended up all going across the street from the Lomita location to for lack of a better term, a Benihana type place. And if you're familiar with Benihana, they cook the food in front of you on your table. It wasn't exactly near as elegant or fancy or whatever. They basically gave you a little hot plate there on your own table. You would cook your own meat, vegetables, and the whole thing. Somebody in our group, I couldn't tell you who it was. It may have been one of the people that were stoned, maybe one of the people that were drunk. It certainly wasn't me. But it was decided amongst a group of us that Sandman would be the proper person to handle raw, uncooked meat and try to cook it for us at the table. And started flinging it like it was damn hash all over. And God bless the former Mrs. Van Dam. She settled Hack down and got our food. It was great. And God bless Rob. He paid for everybody. I mean, it was so nice of him to do that. And I think that's where it really, like, the first interview was good. It was a good, solid interview. I think it was that second interview that really established our rapport with him, with the store, with his wife at the time, with everybody that was involved with him. And it really kind of got us from a jump off point. And then you guys know the story, of course. Returns to the Royal Rumble, becomes Mr. Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, calls his shot, cashes in at One Night Stand, becomes the champion, becomes the ECW champion WWE 2 nights later. The arrest goes down. He has to drop both titles. He's suspended for a month. We kept in contact all throughout this. He and I did. You guys know, of course, for those of you that are longtime fans, One Night Stand going down coincides with the end of XMV officially. That was our last weekend that we were in production of that show. So we did that. And roughly a year later, the Chris Benoit situation happens, and we go on the air with Talk Wrestling, this very show, and off I go, and I just start doing just this, just me talking to you and me answering your questions and kind of just settling into that role. And it was either right before or it happened because of right after, when Rob had gone out on that stupid concussion storyline with Orton in the summer of 07. And we're still talking this whole time. We're still maintaining contact. And then when he returned for that brief moment at the Raw anniversary show in late 07, I had talked to him and said, hey, how'd you feel about, doing another just interview? And he says, well, who's with you? I said, it's just me at this point. He says, yeah, come on in. He ended up setting us up at his friend's beautiful, I mean, gorgeous house out in the Malibu Hills out here in California. The guy was a major horror fan, from what I remember. Aaron can probably tell you more about the decor of the house than I can, because he's got more of an eye for stuff like that. But I know that I'm pretty sure Sonia took Aaron's significant other, and maybe even Jay was in the wheelchair, so I don't know if she would be able to do all the major touring. But they saw a lot of the cool stuff from the house, and Aaron set up camera at the fireplace there. I mean, you guys have seen the picture 100 times of he and I like this at each other, with me with my ECW shirt on, him with his tank top on. We another hour just talking. Aaron broke up in 3 parts. Probably the 3 most successful episodes of Talk Wrestling we ever did. We ended up reposted it on the Costume Studios channel. Great numbers there. And I think that show was the moment where it was more of a, hey, we're buddies and we enjoy just bullshitting and talking and whatever. It was really, really cool to get that with him. The funny thing is, he gave me a shirt and it's this bright white, couldn't wear it now if I tried because it stretches over my fat ass before, let alone now, RVD TV shirt. And I almost wore that home. And I ended up going back on my ECW shirt because we took pictures in the with the new RVD TV shirt on that I took, and that way we could get pictures with it. And I put my ECW shirt back on. We actually had to break back into this house because I locked myself out. So climbing over the fence all the way over here on the other side, I just ripped the bottom of the ECW shirt right off the stitching, and it just ruined that poor shirt. So luckily it wasn't the RVD TV shirt. So did that interview. This is January 2008. I think it's showing up in February, but we did it in January. So he hadn't come back for his Royal Rumble spot yet. He certainly hadn't debuted for TNA Impact yet. We had talked about in that show him maybe going to Impact, and he said even then that his passion to do that every night of the week wasn't there. And okay, that makes sense. So time goes along. He, of course, joins Impact in 2010, along with everybody else, it felt like, right? And again, we're still talking, just, but the more he, Rob's never been he was never at that time anyway, he's never big on being away from home and being away from his woman and being away from the travel. He, once he left Impact in whatever it was, 2012, 2013, and came back to WWE in 2013, and he only stayed for that 1 year. And then it was funny. Oh, before I get to that, my dad's he was happy. He's so happy for Rob. He's only really met Rob in person once. And I think he and Rob connected so well, Colin, because it was right after Rob's father had passed. So the whole paternal thing was there, right? So it was kind of a cool moment that only my dad could have shared with him, because Rob was much older, obviously, than I was when his father passed away, and his father was much older than my father. So they had that little moment between them, right? So anyway, he was ecstatic. My whole family's stoked. Dylan's happy for him. We're all very happy for Rob, for sure. So I couldn't tell you what month it was. I have to go back and look at the dates on the shows, but sometime in the summer, maybe in late spring of 2014, Dylan and I are at Disneyland doing our Disney thing, because that's what we do. We go to Disneyland. You know what? I take that back. I don't think it was our June 2014 visit, because we both had our Kings hats on, because the Kings just won Stanley Cup #2, and he and I are walking out to the bus stop over on Harbor to go home. And my alerts go off, and I have a Twitter DM from RVT. Hi, are you still doing your talk show? I have something to promote. And I said, I'm actually with so-and-so now, but what were you looking? He says, well, I'm looking to promote, and we kind of went into it. And I immediately, I had just reconciled with Aaron after having a falling out for about 2 years or so, maybe a little bit less. And I contacted Aaron. I said, hey, what are you doing this day? Would you be okay with running camera for me? We can make a talk wrestling, you can do whatever you want. And Rob wants to do it. He says, yeah, of course, Rob, for you to do anything. So Aaron very graciously met me, and Dylan came with me this time. He got to meet Rob. Officially, he was actually in the wound last time I interviewed him, so that was kind of cool. But we went to Venice Beach, and it was a beautiful, beautiful summer type day down at the beach. Sunscreen was had by all because Dylan and I both burn like freaking apple, tomatoes, whatever you want to call it. So another 4-parter plus a promo plus pictures, and then Aaron drove Dylan and I to the Union Station in LA to catch the red line up to Hollywood because Dylan and I went and saw Luke Bryan that night at the Hollywood Bowl. That's a pretty good day for good old JM and his boy. See RVD in the afternoon and Luke Bryan in the evening. That's a hell of a day. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that thoroughly. CJ, I think he enjoys hockey a little bit more. I won't swear by that because his wrestling fandom, unfortunately, is more dictated by his mother's decisions than my own, only because of his agreement her and I have had over the years. It kind of goes back and forth. Anyway, right now I'll say hockey. Yeah, ginger plus natural sign, no bueno. Exactly. Very, very bad situation for everybody involved there. No question about it. And you got to figure, not only was I out at Venice Beach for a good chunk of the day, I was also out on the Hollywood Boulevard waiting for the shuttle. Yikes. Lots of sun that day, for sure. Chris says, do you see RVD have another match in WWE or a part-time contract, perhaps the Andre Battle Royal? I don't know where he's at as far as his concussion protocol, as far as where he's at on that front, Chris. So I hesitate to say anything yes or no because I don't know the answers to where he's at. If I knew more about his situation, I would say one way or the other. Based on what he and I have talked about, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But again, he's always surprised me. So we'll see what happens down the line. So we do the interview at Venice Beach, and we're, just again, he brings another shirt. God bless him. It's an extra large. A little too small for me already. But we hung out and we talked and we enjoyed. We were like on a rooftop over on this apartment complex that his buddy had. Just another great setting. And the reason that setting came off so well on camera, right here. Aaron, what is up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Good to be on. How you doing?
Better. Aaron with me like yesterday, make sure I was alive. It's like I didn't no social media. Are you okay? You haven't done one social media thing. Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine.
I know. You know what? How is it that in this day and age, when we're worried about somebody, we have to check and make sure that their social media is active, and if it's not active, then we're wondering what's going on here.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's how the world is now. It's very funny how that is a thing. But let me just ask you this, because you have been with me along with me for pretty much every one of these interviews that I've done with Rob over the last 16 years. The only one you weren't a part of in any capacity was the one I did last year on my birthday. But even still, you were part of the one I did him and Katie at Booker's thing because you posted on the DQ channel because I didn't have an outlet to do that much video at one time or another. What do you remember about the early points? Because I was just telling everybody at home, I remember getting that list of phone numbers. I couldn't tell you where I got it from, saved my life at this point. But we knew that Rob had a store in close of driving distance where it wasn't like, oh my God, we can't drive that far. It's Long Beach. Fuck, it's right there. So we went, and then it kind of just took off from there between he and you and I.
Yeah, I remember the first time we interviewed him, it was at the comic book store at the mall. I remember that.
Right.
And then we had a different interview when we went to the other store, which was at a strip mall, right?
Right. Yeah, I was just telling them the first location for the store ended up being 10 minutes from where I moved down to in Long Beach, Lakewood. It's like right down the street from the apartment at the Lakewood Center Mall. So it was like all those times I'd been down to our Rob's store for whatever, and now I live 10 minutes away walking. But JJ pointed out a very good point earlier. The park at the second location, if you weren't there early afternoon, you were screwed. It was the worst strip mall parking I think I've ever seen in my life. There were maybe 6 spots for the entirety of the course. It was awful.
I was just going to say like 5 spots from what I remember.
Oh God, it was. And well, we only got the spot we did because we didn't know what time Rob was going to be available. He said to show up when you can, and we ended up seeing Sandman arrive, ask where the bar was, go across the street, and we're all going, "That's not good."
Yep.
He comes back 6 hours later, very, very, very jacked up. Like, what is your enduring memory of interviewing Rob? Because you and I saw so many cool, so different spots. We had the 2 comic book stores. We had the beautiful house out there in the Malibu Hills where we did the big long hour-long dive with him. The freaking rooftop in Venice Beach was just ridiculous. But it just, what do you remember most of all?
Well, I think my favorite one was probably the 2008 Talk Wrestling interview, just because I think that was the most in-depth. It was just you and him one-on-one, had the 2 cameras, and you got a lot out of him. He really went all out as far as talking about his career, and it was a really fun interview. And the 2014 one was definitely fun too, because of the atmosphere, being at Venice Beach and going up on the roof. That was a lot of fun. And the Sandman one, of course, because the Sandman was there, and going out to dinner afterwards, and
I was telling
for our food, that was fun, I have to say.
Yeah, I was telling the people, amongst the collective intelligence of all of us, somebody decided it was a good idea for the fucking Sandman to cook our food. No.
Sandman was quite the character. But yeah, Rob was really nice to us for all of those interviews. Very easygoing and a great interview. You know, sometimes I know you've had troubles over the years interviewing people. Some of them, like, it's like pulling teeth, impossible to get them to open up. And Rob was just like, he was down to answer any question you had, and he would go into detail, and he would be very thorough with his answers, and not a lot of people would do that. And also, a lot of people are very careful with what they say because they're afraid of getting in trouble with somebody, and he was never like that. He was always straight shooting, and he would say what was on his mind. He pulled no punches.
Yeah, I really love what you put this morning when the announcement first went down. I'm trying to find it now here because it's there it is. Aaron said after he made the announcement about with the tweet and everything, it said, on behalf of everyone at No DQ, I'd like to congratulate RVD on his Hall of Fame induction. He gave us numerous interviews over the years, and there was always no bullshit with his thoughts, which I love. That's the thing. You just said he could have been under contract events or not. He didn't. Not that he didn't care. He just knew that his audience, our audience, wouldn't want him to restrain and pull punches. So, and he never did, not one time.
Yeah, and that 2005 one, he was obviously under contract then, and he still answered whatever questions were asked to him.
He did. I mean, he pretty much all but guaranteed, even though it hadn't been yet, that One Night Stand was going to be a thing. Like, it hadn't even been officially announced yet, and he just did it, whatever, didn't give a shit. It was great. It's awesome. So I've been so blessed, and I've said this so many times over the years, with or without you on camera, so I'm not going to be blowing smoke up your ass here. I've been so blessed over the years to have you along for the ride, originally on camera for me, and to help promote and everything, and basically give me No DQ as my platform. And you know, it's so funny to think about, you know, all these years later, and we actually did the last week. I was dropping Dylan off over the weekend. My relationship with Dylan's mom directly lines up with our relationship with RVD, literally the same week.
Right.
Because you think about it, we interviewed Rob whenever it was that Wednesday that Spike was at the store. WrestleMania was that weekend, and her and I got together that Saturday. So it's crazy how long we've been associated with him, and how much he's done before he even met us, and even since he's been, you know, part of our extended No DQ family. I mean, we've been able to be, you know, by proxy, whatever, a huge part of his becoming the world champion finally, you know. And now, you know, I've been in direct contact with him for so long. It's so, I have people congratulating me that was in the Hall of Fame. It's like, I appreciate it, guys. I'm just a buddy. Like, you know, it's great, but it's not really mine to hold on to, I guess. I don't know.
Somebody tweeted me saying, I bet you got a huge boner from this. And I'm like, well, not as much as Jeff. I'll spread
right,
out.
right, yeah, not quite that extreme, but like I said, I knew, like we all knew about it last week, like it was pretty much all but outright confirmed, and then of course Paul Heyman can't resist, so Paulie's gonna always buck the system, and rattle the cage, if you will. So we all knew going into the weekend it was gonna be a thing. It was just a matter of when they actually said it. So
Yeah, and I like that they're doing RVD and Kane the same year. I think
yeah.
that's pretty cool. I had one person comment about wanting to see like an ECW year where it's just ECW people going in, which, yeah, they could have done that, but RVD, he's only the second act to be going in after the Dudley Boys.
Right.
And you could spread it out. Paul Heyman's got to be going in soon, and
right,
maybe the Sandman.
And the thing is, most of the people that were in ECW that would be, for lack of a better term, Hall of Fame worthy, made it bigger in WWE than like Austin, Foley, those guys. They're in the Hall of Fame because they were the great in WWE, not just because he said, like Shane Douglas. If Shane Douglas wouldn't be, outright against it, he'd be a perfect head of the ECW class type thing. Jerry Lynn, same thing, those guys. But, the majority of guys that are in the Hall of Fame are not just because they were ECW stand-up, if that makes any sense. So,
right.
I do appreciate sentiment because Lord knows we got a lot of mileage out of a lot of ECW guys over the years on like XMV and Talk Wrestling, but you have to kind of be realistic about the WWE's stance on things and the way they approach things. Like, if they did it the way we want them to do it, with all due respect, it would take a lot more than Indian political clout to put the Great Khali for me. Like, I get it, but no.
Right.
So, like there's a lot that goes into it that we don't even know because it's none of our business, quite frankly. But yeah, I would love to see guys that we have interviewed so many times or have interviewed at all get the recognition. It's just a matter of what have they done in their WWE career. That's the key. Rob, without question, even though the last 2 years of his initial run, were injured, and then he finally got the big one, and then he got busted. Rob's still a former multi-time world champion. He's, and because they integrate ECW and WCW history in their Hall of Fame credentials, he's still the longest reigning champion in any championship over the last, it's been 20 years. He was champion for 1 week, 2 years. Nobody's done that. Punk got close, but not that close.
Right.
So, I have said for a long time, and I find it so funny that he's getting inducted this year because if things would have stayed non-COVID, they'd be in LA, and we could, yeah. So
that's crazy to think that WrestleMania would have been a couple of days ago on the
yesterday,
yeah. So that's insane to think that we were going to go to WrestleMania in Hollywood and do all the events, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, if they had the Hall of Fame structure in mind already when they did last year's class, then we'd be able to see RVD's induction, Eric Bischoff's induction. This is just this year's alone is a pretty decent class, and we've either met most of them or seen them all in action. I think you were at Hall with me when we saw. Molly was kind of like in the crowd, kind of in the back, just kind of watching things and just kind of, she was just kind of off, not making herself known. She was just kind of there, just watching.
She was in town for Mania,
and she was so sweet. Haven't met Kane officially yet, but I just, you can't without talking about Kane. That's how intertwined they are now. So that's a great story. Bischoff remains relevant to this day. He does. I love Bischoff. And then, of course, Khali today, RVD. I'm very happy for Rob, like I said. Just so cool that our buddy's going in. If there was one person other than, I'm going to be really vain here, other than me or Paul Heyman, who would you have induct him?
Other than Paul Heyman or you?
Right.
That's a great question. And Jerry Lynn would be a good choice, but I
was going to say Jerry, yeah. Except that Jerry's working for AEW, so that's kind of hard.
I'm trying to think who he had like a really good program with. Kurt Angle might be a good choice. They had some solid matches against each other.
Yeah, Kurt actually was. RVD won his last official to be defended hardcore championship reign from Kurt.
Yeah.
Because they exchanged that one on Raw. And then he went on and lost to The Undertaker at Vengeance. And then he didn't get it back until it was unified with the Intercontinental the following summer. JJ makes a good point. I don't know about turning Bill Alfonso loose with the light mic, though. I'm a little worried about that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Although Fonzie was out here for a meet and greet a couple weeks ago, and they said he's in really good spirits and he's not, there's a lot of people that were good at ECW stick people. Joel Gertner would be the one. There's a lot of good people that I think would be in good favor with WWE and not working for the other company that would be good candidates. It really just, you would have to just kind of go down and look, okay, well, he is, so he can't, and then just sell. But there really is no other choice with Paul Heyman. I know I was joking earlier in the show with me, and it should have been me. There is nobody else that can be as descriptive and as meaningful about Rob's career as Paul Heyman, because Paul is the one that lobbied for him every step of the way.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't Terry Funk for Mick Foley, it would have been Paul Heyman. That's how much he meant to both those guys, just definitely. Kevin, I don't want New Jack near anybody. No.
Yeah, that's gonna happen anyways.
No. There'll be no live mics with New Jack around. I guarantee you that. I would. So it's crazy just to look back now, for me anyway, and think about all the times that we've, you and I went down to interview him, or I went down and you ran cam, or whatever it was. I always remember the second show, and I know the third one was really good. It was just he and I. It was a beautiful house, a beautiful setting. Same with the fourth one with the apartment and everything. But that second one, it's the first time that I remember, and I don't know if everybody was there or not. You might have to help me. I think that was the only interview we did, actual interview, where the entire team, the active team, was there.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna have to get going here.
Okay.
Sorry to leave so abruptly. I gotta.
It's okay. No worries. All right, brother. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
All right. Take care, Jeff.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, then. That was random. Anyway, that's good. Boop. There we go. All right. So anyway, what I was going to say was that to my knowledge was the only time the entire active team was there, and I thought that was really special. So I thought that was really cool. All right, I'm looking to be done here at the top of the bottom of the hour, but it occurs to me as I look through my stuff that I don't have any graphics. So let me just try to plug this as best I can without help. So tomorrow at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, will be the Renegades recap, which will have Jay talking about his month of movie reviews that are wrestling centric. And then, of course, I'll look ahead as we go to trilogies for April on Renegades reviews. And I will be on April 1st through 3rd with him on his channel. And Jay, if you're still there, dates on the other one for the other trilogy I'm part of would be super right now. I don't have it in front of me, but I will be on for Mighty Ducks, the Mighty Ducks trilogy reviews as well. So I'll be on for that. Kevin says, Kyle says, what about Tommy Dreamer for inducting RVD in the Hall of Fame? Okay, so Tommy in the Hall of Fame, yes, I definitely see that happening for Tommy down the line. Inducting Rob would be great, except he's also working with Impact, and so getting him over will be difficult. But putting him in one day, I definitely agree with that. So you can see tomorrow's recap, and then if I haven't talked to Mikey this weekend except briefly, let him know I was okay with the illness. So we may or may not do Staff Buddy Sports tomorrow. There we go. Thank you, Jay. April 10th to the 12th of the Mighty Ducks. So pretty much the beginning of April and then the closing of WrestleMania weekend will be myself on this channel. It won't be a replay here on the Jeff Beachman Network. It'll be exclusively on the Constantine Studios channel over at youtube.com/Constantine Studios for the Renegades review of Back to the Future Part 2, Part 3, the Mighty Ducks, D2 and D3, April 1st through 3rd, April 10th through 12th. There is that. And that'll be coming up at the end of this week. So there you go. So that's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, maybe Savoy Sports Bar, maybe not. We'll see how things go. Wednesday, we will have the Greg Cherry Show and a preview of the next day's trivia match, which will feature me hosting the post game, as long as I'm not back on my deathbed on Thursday. And then Friday will be Dads on Always on Wrestling as we present our top people that should be expelled from the Hall of Fame rather than be let in who aren't yet. So I tell you right now, Friday's Dads is going to be the most controversial show we have ever done. And I don't take that controversy word lightly. It gets intense. I get massively upset during this show. I'm going to try not to edit out too much because it's raw, it's real, it is friggin' intense. So I'm just saying, tune in Friday. This coming Saturday, hopefully I'll have the footage put together. I know I keep saying hopefully. I'm sorry for my being ill last week. We will do Big Gold Chapter 4, Enter the Dragon, and for those of you on my personal Facebook page, we'll do our Disney stream with Aladdin the Musical, Spectacular at California Adventure. Hopefully, this coming Saturday night. Josh, I haven't heard a Warrior Award thing. I mean, we still got a week, so we'll see. Kevin, Impact used The Rock for the Shamrock Inductions. Why can't WWE use Rhino? I mean, anything's possible. It's just a matter of cooperation. So we'll see how it goes, Kevin. All right, gentlemen and ladies, we thank you all for watching. Appreciate it. Aaron, thank you for popping in. And again, congratulations to our buddy Rob. I'm so over the damn moon for him. I can't even tell you. I'm so happy that he is finally a WWE Hall of Fame inductee. Cannot wait for that. And we'll see how things go from there. Until tomorrow for the Renegades recap and everything we do here on the network, this is Talk Wrestling. I am Jeff Meacham, and we will see you guys next time.